What's going on, YouTube? I know, I've been gone for a while, and if you can tell by the way my voice sounds, my allergies are acting up, and I do sound sick, but I promise, not sick, just allergies. So, what do I have today? Well, for starters, I have to open Gateway of the Underworld structure deck, which means I have a third one to open on camera for you guys. And you know what this means? It's the quote-unquote prologue to sealed only. I'm not quite ready to start the journey. Oh god. Excuse me. Not quite ready to fully commit to the journey yet. Alright, so there's the structure deck that's nice and sealed. You get your official rule book. Get your deck list here, which, you know, talks about Generation Force. And what's that? Photon Shockwave. Extreme Victory and Storm of Ragnarok. Wow. That's pretty old. However, this playmat also kind of says a few things about the Dark World structure deck. It's before pendulums, so there's no pendulum zones, which is a bit funny to think about. But, yeah. Anyways, let's crack this bad boy open. The rest of the stuff from the other two structure decks, it's sleeved, it's ready to go, kind of. But anyways, starting us off, we have our ultra rare Grapha, Dragon Lord of Dark World. If he's discarded, you can target a field, or if he's discarded by card effect, you can target a card on the field, destroy it. And then, if he was discarded by an opponent's card effect, no, God, you can, I believe, look at one random card from your opponent's hand. If it's a monster, you summon it to your side of the field. Then he has an effect while he's in the graveyard. You can bounce a Dark World back to your hand to special summon him. Not an activated effect, so he's really good. Then we have Snow. When she's discarded, you can add a Dark World card from your deck to your hand. And then, if she's discarded by an opponent's card effect, you can target a monster in your opponent's graveyard and special summon it. So Cerulea's pretty interesting. If he's discarded, you summon him to your opponent's side of the field, and then if he's summoned by the effect of a Dark World, your opponent discards a card. So basically what he does is, you discard him, summon him to your opponent's side of the field, and then since he was summoned by a Dark World, his effect would activate on your opponent's side of the field. So, you would discard a card. He's a pretty interesting tech. Granted, it gives your opponent a monster, but oh well. And then we have the two vanilla Dark Worlds, Zur and Renge. Then we have Scar, who's a battle tutor. Then we have Khaki. Khaki and Gren are both cards I have considered putting in the deck. For now, just kind of like as filler, but I'm uncertain about them. He targets and destroys monsters when he is discarded, and then he targets and destroys spells and traps whenever he's discarded. Right? Yep. And then we obviously have Brow. When he's discarded, draw a card, and then you draw another if he was discarded from your hand to the graveyard by an opponent's card effect. Beige special summons himself. Now we get into the meh ones, like Brawn. Or, well, actually, no. Brawn is one of the meh ones, just like Scar. Whenever he inflicts damage, you get to discard a card. Meh. We have Silva, Warlord of the Dark World. Whenever he's discarded by your card effect, you can special summon him. And then, if he's discarded by an opponent's card effect, what is it? Your opponent returns 2 cards from their hand to the bottom of their deck in any order. So he gets rid of cards from your opponent's hand. This card, whenever it's discarded to the graveyard by a card effect, or if it's discarded by an opponent's card effect, target 2 cards your opponent controls, special summon this card, and then destroy those cards, if any were targeted. Gold's pretty good. And then Rainbow literally has an effect whenever he's discarded by an opponent's card effect. Special summon him, and then if he's summoned this way, destroy all monsters or all spell and traps your opponent controls. He's not the greatest, especially when there's not really too many decks in the meta ripping cards out of your hand. And then we have Belial, Marquis of Darkness. Your opponent he basically says your opponent can only target him with everything. And he's a 2800 level 8. There's no good way of getting him out. Trigodia, I'm not even going to bother going over his effect, but I'm not going to be running him. Sangan, another card I'm not going to be running, especially because of the errata, where you can't even activate the cards that you add, or the card that you add off his effect. So it's not really it's not really worth it. Nudoria is too slow. Goblin King is, gains 1,000 attack for each fiend on the board, but meh. Grave Squirmer is too slow. Battle Fader, could come in handy, but slow. And then Card Guard is also very slow. Gates of the Dark World, a really good field spell. All fiends gain 300 attack and defense, but that's not what makes it good. You can banish a Dark World, draw a card, or banish a fiend from your graveyard, draw a card, and then discard a card. And the banish is the cost, and then the draw and discard are part of the effect, so really good for getting your Dark World effects off. This is kind of, this is like okay support. Target a face down card, destroy it. It's okay, not the best. This is a card I've been thinking about replacing with like a mixture of Khaki and Gren, but I'm playing it just in case. Gateway to the Dark World, you actually get 2 of these. You target a Dark World, summon it, and then you can't summon monsters for this turn, but you can discard them. I'm side decking 3 of those already, so yeah. And then we have probably one of the best spells in the deck, Dark World Dealing. Both players draw a card, then discard a card. Simple as that. Allure of Darkness, draw 2, banish 1. Card Destruction, I already have a copy in here, but man, is this card broken. Terraforming, I already have my 1 copy in the deck. Dark Eruption, I'm thinking about side decking this, but I'm not certain. And then all of the trap cards I'm not running outside of these 3 right here. Deck Debbie, Eradicator, and Mind Control. Mind Control I'm main decking because if you don't call a card right, you discard a card, which is really nice and really handy. And the other 3 are just kind of there, and then these are just meh cards. So, give me 1 moment, and I'll be right back, and I will give you guys my deck list for my Dark World deck right now. Alright, so I have the deck all sleeved up and ready for the profile. We do have a side deck, and let's just start with the main deck first. So, for the main deck right now, I am playing triple copies of Grapha, because obviously it's Grapha. You want to play him at 3 in the early stages. He's really good to have, generic or good going second. He can pop a card your opponent controls. Granted, it's targeting, but it's still really good. Not once per turn. Next, we're also playing 3 copies of Snow, Unlight of the Dark World. A not once per turn, search a Dark World card. Really good. You obviously want to play 3. 3 copies of Brow. He draws you cards. You want to play him. You want to see him, and you want to you know, discard him, draw, discard, and draw. This deck is going to be made to be cycling through the deck super quick, which is the whole point of Dark Worlds. Next, we have 3 copies of Beige, Vanguard of the Dark World. He just he puts himself on the board. He's a free body, and you can loop him with Grapha, so you can discard Beige, summon Beige, bounce him back, summon Grapha, infinite discard fodder, basically. Then we have 3 copies of Silva, Warlord of the Dark World. He just another free body. When he's discarded, summon him. Pretty nice. And if there ever is that instance where your opponent rips a card out of your hand, he can rip 2 cards out of theirs in return. Then we have Gold Wooloo Lord of the Dark World. Again, another monster that summons himself for free, and then he can also pop 2 cards on the board. Pretty nice. And then for the last of the monsters, I'm running 2 copies of Ceruli in the main deck. My reason for double Ceruli in the main deck is because in certain matchups that can't really utilize a level 1 Dark Fiend, which are very few, getting a free discard and a discard for an opponent's card effect is pretty nice, especially when you get a bunch of different, benefits. Like, Brow draws you 2 cards if discarded by an opponent's card effect. Snow summons a monster from your opponent's graveyard with effects negated. Silva rips 2 cards out of your opponent's hand. Graphic can steal a monster out of your opponent's hand. Pretty nice. And those are all the monsters in the main deck that I am playing right now. For the spells, we are running triple Gates of the Dark World. Just banish a fiend, draw a card, discard a card, banish being the cost. Really nice. And then a 300 boost. It makes Grapha 3k. It makes all your other fiends pretty, beefy. It makes Beige, I believe, like a 1900 level 4, or 2100 level 4. No, it makes him a 1900 level 4, which isn't terrible, but it's not the best. Then I'm running 3 copies of Dark World Lightning. This is a card I'm probably going to cut almost immediately because I don't know how often there are set cards in the meta right now. But it would probably go into the side deck, which we will get into after we're done with the main deck. Then we are running 3 copies of Dark World Dealings. Obviously, the best draw spell in the deck. Draw, and then discard. Pretty nice. We're also running 3 copies of Allure of Darkness. Just a really good card. Draw 2, banish a dark. Whoop-de-doo. Draw 2, banish a Ceruli. If you really don't trust Ceruli. And then for our power 1-ofs, we are playing 1 copy of Card Destruction, 1 copy of Terraforming. As if Gates of the Dark World wasn't searchable enough, we now have Terraforming and Card Destruction. Just reset the hands. Why not? And that is all the spells we are playing. And then for the traps in the deck, we are playing 3 Mind Crush and 3 Eradicator Epidemic Virus. These cards are just stupid. If you you can Mind Crush on your opponent's turn, call like Ash Blossom or anything like that. If you're wrong, you discard a card. Simple as that. I mean, you're probably not going to call Ash, but you can definitely call something generic, and if you're wrong, you get to discard a card, which means any of your monsters, which is pretty good. So next, we are side decking the third copy of Ceruli. Like I said earlier, he's not the best card in the world, but if your opponent can't really take advantage of him being a free body to their side of the board, go ahead and side in the third one. Then I'm also playing 3 Khaki in the side deck and 3 Gren in the side deck. These both serve the purpose of siding out Dark World Lightning. Simply because... Oh, camera, focus. Thank you. Siding out Dark World Lightning because Dark World Lightning is limited to set cards, whereas these just can target a speller trap or a monster, pop it, not once per turn. I'm also, and then for the spells in the side deck, I have 2 copies of Dark Eruption and 3 copies of Gateway to the Dark World. The reason why I'm playing 2 copies of Dark Eruption in the side is because you can add back your Brow, discard him, draw more cards, and that's really the only card you can add back off of this, unless, you know, you side it in with your Gren and your Khaki, because you can add them back to your hand, which is pretty nice. And then I'm also citing 3 copies of Deck Devi, because, well, it's Deck Devi. What do you expect? And that is it for the side deck. Sadly, there will be no gameplay in this video, simply because this isn't really the start to my sealed-only journey. This is the prologue to show you guys, like, hey, I have my deck of choice, I have it made, I'm ready to go. I just need to get a couple of other things sorted out, like recording software, camera, because there's no way I'm recording this on my phone, this whole series on my phone. It would give it like a special feel to it, but no way. No way in the world am I gonna do that to you guys, because my phone doesn't always like to cooperate, which kind of sucks. But I'm gonna shuffle up the deck, and we will do some like test hands with it. So I'll be right back with those test hands. Alright, so the deck is nice and shuffled. So our first hand with the deck is Dealings, Mind Crush, Allure, Ceruli, and Brow. That's actually not terrible. You're obviously going to set your Mind Crush before doing anything silly. Now, you could set your Allure and then Dealings, pitch Ceruli, and then hopefully hit your Brow, because this makes you discard at random. But instead of doing that, which you probably should do to be safe and not gamble, is Allure, drawing 2, and, well, banish Ceruli, so that way you're not playing a gamble. So then you're going to set your Eradicator, and we're going to Dealings here, we're going to draw, we're going to discard Brow, and since Brow is discarded, we're going to draw into another Brow. So we're going to activate our Gates of the Dark World. We're going to use this effect to banish our Brow from the graveyard, draw a card, and then discard a card, which is Brow, so we're going to draw a card. And then we're going to Dark World Dealings, we're going to draw, we're going to discard, and then we're going to draw. Oh my god, and then we're... Okay, I obviously didn't shuffle enough. Yeah. Give me one moment. Alright. New hand. That is made for going second. Never mind. You literally can do nothing with this. Hold on. I think it doesn't help that these sleeves are pretty old, so they don't shuffle right all the time. Like, as you can see, they do kind of clump up, and they don't help with the warping. But I guess while I'm shuffling, I can talk to you guys a little bit about why this is just kind of like a prologue episode, not actually the start. One, I don't have an actual camera to record with, I just have my phone. So that kind of sucks. Ooh, seeing snow. Hold on. Oh my god. Are we serious? Well, obviously I'm gonna have to do some power shuffling, and I'll do that later. Like I said, the reason why this is going to be a prologue as opposed to like the actual start is simply because I have a friend that wants to do this journey with me. He's been on my channel. He's been around my channel for a while. His name is Lord Untimely. He wants to do a sealed-only journey with me, and I mean, I have my structure deck sorted out. He's still trying to figure out the deck, and I have a couple of different ideas I want to do with this deck. I have a PK variant in mind that I think would be pretty fun to play. I just don't know how well I'd be able to pull it off, for one. And then two, I have a Chaos Thunder Dragon idea in mind for this deck. Now, a lot of that involves the 2019 Megatons, which aren't very easy to come by, but the individual packs are $15 each. And my friend and I are looking at maybe a $40 budget each. Well, obviously each. But we're looking at a $40 budget. So I'd only ever be able to open up 2 mega packs a week. And doing that would kind of suck. So my initial thoughts were, try the PK stuff. Try playing PK Dark World for a little bit. And if you like it, hunt for the Phantom Rage stuff that you would need to flush out the PK engine. And there you go. Maybe some Dual Devastator here and there. And then maybe we can make this a really stupid 60 card deck. Or keep it at 40 and cut out unnecessary cards like Gold and Ceruli. Terraforming is kind of unnecessary. Mind Crush. The trap cards you get in here are kind of really only here to settle for the beginning of the series. But yeah, I have a couple of different directions I want to take this deck. First direction I want to take it is new sleeves. So we'll figure out the new sleeve situation in part of our budget later on when the series does start. So like I said, this is more of a prologue. Also, if you guys are still watching, I know this is the first time I've uploaded in almost a month. Actually, I think it has been a month. I'm sorry about that. I've had a lot of stuff going on in the background lately. It's kept me extremely busy. Work being the number one thing that has kept me busy. It's a bit of a hassle. I was also out of town for the last week. Nothing to really worry about for you guys. I'm not gonna go into detail about it. I'm just gonna let you know I'm back in town, obviously, and I'm ready to start this whenever my other friend is ready. He's also thought about going a PK route, but doing what Farfa and Distant Coder did, and that's PK Heroes, which I was like, oh, that would be pretty cool. But he doesn't know how well that would be because he'd have to buy 2 of the Legendary Hero decks, and that's basically 2 weeks of a budget. For me, I'd probably only ever end up buying the 1 Legendary Hero decks, and that would be my entire budget for that week, and then I would have a PK Dark World deck made. But like I said, I want to wait until I get an actual camera, because there's no way I'm going to be able to record all of this on my phone. So, with all that said, I hope you guys did enjoy the prologue to my sealed only series, obviously inspired by Revs, Nim Nim, and all of the above, Ruggles, even. But mainly Revs. Revs is the #1 reason my friend and I want to do this. We saw his first series, and we were like, oh, we want to do this, because it would be fun. So, if you guys want to see it, hit that like button. If you're new, sub, and let's see where we get this deck to go. I will see you all later. Peace.